Okay, last item for you to think about is the board. As you know, you're starting to look at your policies. Buried in one of your policies is that you are responsible for naming buildings. That usually means, are we naming it Anderson or Brandel or some other name? Our signage committee, we asked our team that made the recommendations on the signs whether we should be looking at what is called in the field wayfinding, how easy or how hard it is to get around our buildings. We routinely are reported by new students and new employees that things are very difficult to find and confusing. And we've identified that I think the main culprit is that there isn't a linear or a sequential lettering or numbering of either the parking lots or the buildings. So we are proposing, and this came up because the science building, we are reaching the point where we're going to have to say what letter it is. We could just say S and be done with it, but this will be a once-in-a-generation opportunity, and we are not anticipating any significant more buildings after this to put our lettering in a sequential order. So what we're recommending is that the C wing be joined with the new science building and building A, B building be the same, the new cafe and core be labeled C building, that D building be joined with A building and be relabeled D building. We have recommended that E building stay the way it is, where the job center is. And then we thought the library is too obvious and too well associated with the letter L, so we kept that at L, and the same with T and the technology building. We needed to also name the other buildings because we had a practice in the past of using numbers for non-academic buildings. We're recommending going away from that, and that the gymnasium be G, that the auto body be H, the storage building way to the west be J, and then we skip over to that horticulture building be labeled S for sustainability, and we have K for the grounds building, which would have been sequential after the storage building. Waukegan would ultimately, we're looking at doing W for that, and most of, and Vernon Hills be B.
And there's no F?
No F. That's the next number.
Very innovative.
This is, I got a lot of feedback from the entire campus about 200 comments about this. People thrilled or and not so thrilled. Yes.
Is our current A and B going to be the future A and B?
No. The current B will be the future B. The current A will be the
future. Well, let me just tell you why I'm bringing this up, and there may be folks that haven't been around as long as some of us to remember when we first named the buildings. It wasn't done in sequential. It wasn't done in alphabetical order. The A wing was named for Anderson, and the B wing was named for Brandel, the two families that donated the land for the college to be built here in the first place. And I guess I'm wanting to help ensure that we don't lose that piece, because that's part of our history, that's part of our culture. We didn't just come in and say ABC and whatever. The A happened to stand for Anderson and the B for Brandel.
This is not a recommendation to change those names, Anderson or Brandel.
But I mean, those were the two, the two first buildings that were here to honor those folks.
You're correct, and the team also acknowledged that we still want to keep the courts in each of those areas still labeled. That's where most of the identification of Anderson and Brandel come in to students and staff, and still keep the courts in those buildings, named the Anderson Court and the Brandel Court.
So the way they currently are right now, I know the A wing has Anderson and the B has Brandell, so those names will continue.
Yes, I will note though that almost universally everyone wants those 30-year-old banners to come down.
Well, as long as we don't lose the identity and the honoring of the folks that donated the land us to begin with.
And I think
we need to be sensitive.
It's important, and I was just talking to Dorothy today that they're not very well pointed out right now, but there are little plaques in different places, and make sure that if they needed, if there's a wall that's going to be affected, that it go back up in the same place or in an appropriate place where people see it. There are I can make some pictures for you, but we do have some areas where that's identified.
Let's not lose part of our history here.
Barbara, I saw somebody in the audience who's a senior new employee who I won't identify, reading with the mystery of the letters and whatever. Actually, I came in the door to the north and got lost in the corridor trying to get to A or B. But nevertheless, I'm here tonight, so that was a week ago.
We're glad you are.
Okay.
I just want to add that about 10, 12 years ago, Mr. Anderson passed away, and I was at his funeral. And he's no relation to me, so there's no conflict of interest here for those of you that want to jump on that. But they mentioned in his eulogy his contribution to College of Lake County, and that there was a court named after him at College of Lake County. So it's nice that the court will still bear his name.
Okay.
Last thing I want to point out is that students also, we tell them that there are 7 parking lots for them to park at, when in reality there's only 2. So we're having parking lot A and parking lot B. So that we can,
But the B parking lot isn't by the B building.
That's correct.
That's why we see it.
So, do you want to like call the lots 1 and 2 when the buildings are labeled with
Yeah,
letters?
so I'm thinking.
We could do the reverse as well. We have the staff lots 1, 2, 3, which also is 1 through 8. But if you'd rather have the parking lots number 1 and number 2.
I'm just only throwing that out. I'm not an architect or an engineer or anything. I'm just a planner. I'm just thinking that isn't that clearer?
Yeah, I agree
The lots
with you.
are different than the buildings?
Yeah, I'd agree with it, because, again, if the B parking lot isn't by the B building, to me, that would be confusing as well.
And I think that's an interesting point, if I may. We did look at configuring the parking lots A, and then I think we called that one B at one point, which led to that ambiguity about where B, C, and D.
Yeah.
So the idea of looking at that as a numbering sequence might be very intuitive.
Either that or north and south.
Yeah.
But I think we should reconsider A and B.
Can you go back to the first picture?
We're looking at the signs. Yes, this does not speak millennial to me, and I'm just curious, you said you have this committee. I don't know if I heard that you had students on this committee. Are students involved with any of this?
We did present. Now, the makeup of the committee, you're correct, the makeup of the committee was faculty, staff, and so forth. We did have a few different presentations to the, and I'm going to draw a blank on some of the organizations, but their Senate, Student Government Organization, and then I think there was another one that we've also presented to students, just to keep them in the loop and get their feedback.
Was it like a, this is what we plan to do, or we're interested in your feedback? Because that's 2 different types of presentations.
I think it's very good that we're interested in your feedback.
Because it doesn't speak really millennial to me, and it looks like faculty and staff created that.
I think that Well, I think that
I'm just saying, it's very traditional, it's a very traditional.
Animated,
well, it's animated, and I think that that is one of the things that is like the big, if you will, like the big noteworthy difference.
Okay.
Is the technology that we
Sure.
have here
Sure.
versus the technology that is being presented
Okay.
here. And we did have a truck actually in the parking lot with a demonstration of the proposed signage that was out there for about a day that people could look at and see. And it was, what a remarkable difference from the technology on the left to the technology on the right.
I think it's great. It looks a little traditional, but my question, as I posed probably 2 years ago, was I was really pleased to learn that the students were involved, intimately involved with the cafe planning, because that was really awesome. Because I have millennial kids, and they are really smart, actually. I mean, my kids are smart, yes, but millennials in general are just like really smart, and they're very progressive, and their input is just like very valuable. How much of this, David, this question's for you, how much of the entire planning did we have some collaboration with some of the students? Is it just ad hoc, or is it interwoven into all of the projects? As far as having students' involvement, maybe an internship kind of a relationship? This is an institution of higher learning. I mean, I can't even imagine a better learning opportunity than to be involved with these real-life decisions.
So formalized throughout the process, starting with just the development of the master plan. I had students sitting on the master plan steering committee, and then we would regularly go back to the student groups because it wasn't even just input into planning. We make clear this is your money because we've pledged tuition dollars to go to this. At each phase of every major project, we go and ask the students, at least update them where we're at, ask for their feedback. When we design specific spaces, so the space that was for the students actually sat there with the architects and moved rooms here, furniture there, told us what the space would be. If it was an administrative office, that wouldn't have occurred. For our mock-up classrooms of the future, we did ask for our students to actually use the space and give us feedback. And we have built in an internship requirement into our contracts.
Great.
Great.
I kind of whispered to David. Yeah, it's a huge good news story. I whispered to David that I would like to give the board this wonderful news. That as part of the Cotter contract, we agreed to hire a CLC student as an intern. The young man's name is Tim Jansky, and we were contractually obligated to hire him like 2 days a week. Well, I've got to tell you, he is such a credit to CLC. Yes, that we, even while he was still an intern, we took him on 3 days a week. And he has been very, very instrumental and such a huge help to us in the master plan. And effective yesterday was his first day as a full-time assistant project manager with Cotter Consulting. And his first job is moving the student development group. So he's really got his hands full, but he's doing a wonderful job for us, and he is really a credit to this school.
What's his degree in?
It's architectural technologies.
That's excellent. And there's so many more awesome students here, and so we certainly want to give them an opportunity. And we have a lot of projects coming on board, so I'm really excited about the potential there. Very good.
Oh, another thing, the students design the program. Yeah. So, we are working with them every chance we get.
The redo of the courtyard outside that was done by horticulture students, and we're implementing their design.
Good.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, David.